What seems to be the longest NHL season comes to a dramatic end tonight in a Game 7. It's also draft week, so a lot to talk about here on Locked on Blues.
You're Locked on Blues, your daily podcast on the St. Louis Blues. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to Locked on Blues. I'm your host of Locked on Blues, Haley Taylor Simon, talking to you all things about our St. Louis Blues here on the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day. Today on Locked on Blues, I will be talking about the fact that it is Game 7 tonight of the Stanley Cup Finals, draft week, and should the Blues trade Pavel Buchnevich? So we have a lot to discuss on today's episode. It is going to be such a crazy week, as I said on Friday's episode. So let all the drama happen. I'm for it because it's entertaining. But today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. As the playoffs wind down, the sports stop sporting like we want them to. But this summer's FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a booster bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. It is Game 7 tonight of the Panthers and Oilers. And you might be thinking, Hale, how is this about the Blues? Well, I'll tell you how. Okay. So I'm going to tell you some statistics, and then I'm going to relate it back to us. This is the first Game 7 in a finals of any sports series since the pandemic. You might be wondering, Hale, in hockey, who was the last team that won a Game 7? It was us against the Boston Bruins. So we know we will be talked about on tonight's broadcast like always. For some reason, and this is something I've said for a while, our Stanley Cup run, I think, was just so historic and so good and just so entertaining that to this day, I really believe that this is the modern day story of Cinderella. Like, we have the Disney movie and then we have the St. Louis Blues Cup win. No, but it is cool, though, when you do think about the fact that we were the last team to go to Game 7 in the Stanley Cup Finals against the Bruins, and we're able to win. Now, the Bruins did do that in 2011, so, like, yeah, I guess they did it too, but, like, we were the most, like, recent team to do it, and how do I feel about it? I like that we held that record, right? But at the same time, nothing, no matter what happens in tonight's game, will compare to our run. Now, tonight's game's a really weird one, right? Because you had the Florida Panthers that won the first 3 games, and then you had the Edmonton Oilers that won the last 3 games. So they always say the 4th game is the toughest game to win. And for the Panthers, they have home ice advantage. Obviously, our boy Vladimir Tarasenko is with them, but it's going to be one of those games where I really believe it's going to be a nail biter because the past couple of games, Edmonton has really, taken control. But then you think about when the Panthers won, I mean, they had a shutout win as their first game, and they've played really good hockey. It's not like their hockey hasn't been good. It's been pretty, elite and solid. So for the Blues, at least, and why I relate it back to us, we had a guy like Vladimir Tarasenko that was with us when we won the Cup, and he's been in a Game 7 in the finals. So I feel like he does have that experience where he can maybe say to the guys on the Panthers, this is what a Game 7 is like. I mean, when it comes to hockey players, personally, would I want to be in a Game 7 if I was playing hockey? No. It's stressful. I think back to when it was our Game 7. Now, luckily, I didn't really worry much because, we had control of the whole game against the Bruins that night. But going into it, that day leading up to the game, I was a nervous wreck. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep the night before because I just knew that there's no makeup game, right? It's not like you have another chance to redeem yourself. If you don't win in regulation, you go to overtime. If you don't win in overtime, you go to double OT. Double OT goes to triple OT. You get what I'm saying? So it was really one of those games where I just felt the pressure as a fan. As a player, I guess some of them can use it to their advantage. This is so cool. It's a Game 7 in the finals. Now, good for you if you had that mentality. I personally am a nervous wreck, and I don't care about these two teams like that. I want the Panthers to win because of Tarasenko, my favorite player that was ever on the Blues, Vladdy for life. I know a lot of you don't want him to come back, and I get that, but I'm just saying personally, he was my favorite player on the Blues during that time period, and I just honestly want him to have a successful game tonight. But then you have the Edmonton Oilers, who are so dominant this year, and it's see, here's the thing. It would be historic for either of these two teams. And obviously, it would be the Panthers' first time winning a cup. If they lose, it'd be back-to-back losses in the finals, which really sucks. Like, I get what that's like being a Blues fan. I mean, I wasn't alive for when we had that happen, but like historically, I get it. I'm stressed. And I feel like we can actually relate to both of these teams today. And I guess Bruins fans can relate to, even though like I don't really care about Boston. But it's very rare for a finals to now go to game sevens. And again, the circumstance that these two teams are in, I mean, leading 3-0, and then the series tied. It could really go to any of these teams tonight because everyone's like, oh, well, the Oilers have the momentum, and they do have the momentum going into this, but I don't know. And tonight will actually be the 18th game 7 in the Stanley Cup Finals history. And again, as I told you, who's brought up the St. Louis Blues? Literally the first thing in this article from NHL.com is all about the St. Louis Blues and how they won. Again, am I surprised? No, because I feel like the Blues get mentioned so many times, not only when it comes to articles, but when it comes to, anything, right? It said, this is the first since the St. Louis Blues defeated the Bruins in Boston. Here's some more statistic. Road teams have won 3 straight game 7s in the Stanley Cup Finals. Home teams are 12-5. Because remember, we were on the road. So here's some more. The Oilers will play in their third game 7 in the Stanley Cup Final after they defeated the Philadelphia Flyers in 1987 and lost to the Canes in 2006. Edmonton will be playing in its 13th playoff game 7 in franchise history and second this postseason when they defeated the Canucks. That was a really good series, by the way, against the Canucks. The Oilers are 8-4 overall in playoff game 7s. The Panthers will be in the 4th game 7 in franchise history, 2-0 on the road and 0-1 at home to their loss to the New Jersey Devils in the 2012 conference quarterfinals. So it's interesting when you compare those statistics. Okay, but notice how the St. Louis Blues, and I know we were the most recent, but everyone talks about our run. I mean, I get that Boston's a good team, and I can respect that. I can respect that they're a good team. But the Blues were also a really good team. I know the start of the season was not so good, but the Blues proved to be a top contending team. And a part of me, and I know that they don't mean any disrespect by this, but is it bad that I feel a little bit disrespected sometimes when I know I shouldn't, but sometimes I feel a little bit disrespected. And it's not because I think that, oh, well, the NHL is trying to disrespect St. Louis or, ESPN, TNT, all. I just think that they use us as this underdog example, which we were. But at the end of the day, you have to give credit to where credit is due. And the St. Louis Blues were a pretty damn good team. And I think that it needs to be respected at some point. Again, I'm not trying to say that this is the narrative that they have on us purposely, but I do think that there needs to be just a little bit more respect. And it's just an interesting thing when you really do think about it. I don't know. I just think it's interesting that we constantly get disrespected like that. And I actually did ask you on Twitter who wins tonight. 52% of you have the Oilers, while 48% of you have the Panthers. And TZ said Panthers are the better team. It'd be nice to see a St. Louis player win, but the Oilers have all the momentum and they have the two best players in hockey. I'll be happy either way, but I'm going to lean towards Oilers. And that's how I feel too. I don't know the answer. I do feel like it's going to be Edmonton, but it would be nice to see the Panthers win. I also feel gutted for their fans, the Panthers fans. And, all these big market teams, fans are coming at me saying, don't feel bad for them. Like they're a small market. Well, coming from a market in St. Louis where people constantly are putting us down for being a small market, even though we're not, I do feel sympathetic because I bet it's an awful feeling to be up 3-0 in a series, thinking your team's going to win their first ever cup, and then to have this happen. So I will not take my kindness away from how I feel about this. So that's on you if you're that negative towards another fan base that has done nothing to you. Time to talk about FanDuel. Okay, I love sports and I love them so much and I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer games and the sports aren't sporting like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or bonus daily. That's right, there's something for everyone every day, all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com/lockedon and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. I feel awful because I told everybody, I'm like, oh yeah, put Panthers money line, don't do a game, like just have them win the cup. Now it's at a game 7, so I'm like, oh, I don't know about that one. But what I can tell you is this, is that I do like betting on baseball. And obviously tonight's going to be a tough game against the Atlanta Braves. I never really like when we play the Braves. So I don't know if I would take Cardinals. I mean, we're at home, so I'm like, I don't know if I would take money line, but we had like a nice, wins over the Giants, right? We swept the Giants, so maybe we can keep that momentum going. I just get a little bit nervous when it does come to the Braves, but luckily we do host the Reds on Thursday, so I feel like we could honestly be up there. We're over 500. We're sitting at 513, second again in the National League with the Brewers ahead of us. So you're ahead by, I believe it is 5 games, I want to say. But anywho, go Cardinals, beat the Braves, and let's begin leading. So that's positive. Maybe one of our teams will get into the playoffs this year. Actually, no, our football did, so that's fine. Okay. Draft week. Hello. Happy draft week, all. It is going to be the most hectic week. I hate the fact that there was only like 5 days, not even actually. I lied. Like 4 days between the end of the season with the Stanley Cup Finals tonight and then the first round of the draft on Friday. Good news for you, I am credentialed to be at the draft. That was something that I did not find out until Friday, which was really stressful. And okay, don't be like me. I booked a hotel and plane ticket in January when it was announced and just found out on Friday that I got credentialed. So yeah, that was a little bit of anxiety filled, but it's okay because I will be there giving you all the Blues coverage. Now, I just want to say this in terms of episodes, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm going to, I think, bring my computer with me and just check it in at the front desk on my last day there. It's a whole thing. I'm trying to figure it out. But if you go on Twitter at Locked On Blues, of course, I will have updates all the time. I mean, I'm literally there doing blue stuff. So I'm really excited for that. Which brings me to the fact that we have a potential prospect that I like that I talked about with Brandon Nygaard. And I talked about him. And I really think at 16, it's likely that we get him. Well, I had the guys of the Locked On Podcast NHL Draft talk about Yurchek, right? But I also have a clip of them talking about Brandon Nygaard. Now, they are going to be talking about him with the Red Wings, but it's a little bit of a different perspective than what I had on him. So I want to get their opinions on this, and then I'll tell you my opinions yet again because I think that this is an actual possibility. Take a listen.
Moving on to number 15 here in our Locked On NHL mock draft. Locked On Detroit Red Wings picked up Michael Bronzek-Newgard of Mora IK in the Allsvenskan. Played the entire season against pros this year. Looked fantastic. He's Norwegian-born, 6'1", 207 pounds, I believe. Great power winger. I really like the power elements in this game, but what really makes him a very Steve Yzerman pick is the projectability of his defensive game, the maturity in his game. He's damn near NHL ready. Like, there's a lot of NHL tools here, and there were questions about the upside all season, but the shot really became more and more of a projectable tool as the season went on. It got clear that he's got that true offensive element that could get him to a 25, maybe 30 goal potential. Does that make sense?
100%. I'd even extend that to 35 in terms of if he's able to hit a ceiling as a complimentary first liner with the right playmaking, like line mates, obviously. Like, he's not going to score that on his own. But with support and big minutes, which I think he could earn, like if he's playing alongside someone like Dylan Larkin and Lucas Raymond, I can see that 35 goal upside with a guy like Michael Bronzek-Newgard. I've loved him all season long. He's going to be a valuable NHL piece in whatever capacity he tops out as, whether that be a third line checking defensive specialist or a top line complementary piece, or more likely a second line Swiss Army knife that does about everything that you could possibly want him to do. Great value at 15th overall. You can't really hope for too much more in terms of a combination of high floor and high upside.
Absolutely. I think the likely solution in the NHL for Bronzek-Newgard is to pair him with Marco Kasper on a second line and just have one of the best shutdown combinations in the NHL. That would be absolutely ridiculous. Really gross, really exciting.
So one thing that Sebastian said in that clip, which I agreed on, was that maybe a second line would be better. Now, I know they were talking about the Red Wings, but for the Blues, I do think that him being on the second line would be better. Our first line, I really do like it. And in my next topic, I'm going to actually bring up a player in the first line that I've been getting a lot of comments about. But I do think that Bronzek-Newgard is a really good second line type of guy that would benefit St. Louis a lot. Here's the thing, and this is my reminder to you. While a player could be NHL ready, there's also that possibility that he might need time to develop in the AHL. Very few players these days are NHL ready right away. And with Connor Bedard, I know that he was named last year. That was super popular. And this season, people seem to be disappointed that he wasn't playing, I guess, to their standards of what they thought he should be. But adjusting to the NHL is so different than anything else. Think about football. I don't know if anybody likes football, but just think about football. Those guys get drafted out of college, and then the next season they're playing in the NFL. There's no developmental programs that they have. Baseball, you have AAA. Basketball, you have the G League. But like some of them can just go right into the NBA. But the thing with NHL is it's kind of like baseball. Sometimes you need that time to just develop a little bit more and get used to the game. And I feel like there is a lot of pressure put on some of these players. So while a player, and that gets me excited that, he could be NHL ready, there's also a possibility that he might need half a season. Maybe he needs a year to really adjust. And, respectfully, and this goes with all the guys in the draft, their teams, and I have nothing but respect. It's nothing compared to the NHL. And I'm not trying to be harsh or mean. I'm just being realistic here as somebody that genuinely does care about the growth and success of players. I don't want to exceed expectations by saying, yeah, he should be ready. I'm going to go with the mentality. As long as it's under 2 years before he plays up with us, that's okay with me. I've accepted that because seeing how our prospects have panned out, we do a really good job with developing our guys. And that's a lot of credit to the Thunderbirds. They do a great job down there, in Springfield. But I just think it's a little unrealistic to think that a player selected 16th overall is going to be ready come September for preseason or whatever. So I'm putting that out there because I don't want people to panic and be like, oh my God, like if we don't get a guy that's not ready this year, we're screwed. No, we have plenty of other prospects that will be here, and drafting is the first step in building for success in the future. So just remember that. Again, I get the concerns, they're valid. I just want to give you some reassurance that it's going to be okay. I don't know why I'm being so calm about this. Usually I'm like the opposite. Time to talk to you with my friends over at eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car in the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only. Available to U.S. customers. Should the St. Louis Blues trade Pavel Buchnevich? No. But for some reason, I'm getting a lot of comments, a lot of DMs, a lot of messages telling me that they should. Pavel Buchnevich is a very good player. Very good player. I think sometimes perspective is key. Yes, he's getting paid a good amount, right? Yes, he's not. I mean, he had a good season, so I don't know. Like, I'm trying to go into the mindset of people that are trying to get rid of him. Yes, I guess there could be value that you could get out of him if you trade him. But they're not going to. I mean, he's getting what? It's like 4.5 million. I believe, because he re-signed something. Every year it's different, but yeah, he has a no move and no trade clause. 5.8 million, I mean, my bad. Yes, it's a lot of money, whatever. He deserves it. He is such a good player. And I know that, everyone's like, oh, you can get value. He's not a guy that's worth giving up. I'm sorry. He is very skilled, very experienced. I don't know how else to justify that. But for some reason, a lot of you just believe that it would benefit the Blues when I think it's the opposite. I asked you on Twitter at Locked On Blues, should the Blues trade Pavel Buchnevich? Josh says 30-plus-year-old making $8 million and already showing signs of slowing down. Definitely would not be a good contract for this team. Josh says, I love the player, but I don't believe he fits long term. And Justin said, well, he quoted it. It's crazy to me that you guys want to trade a first/second line player for a pick that isn't guaranteed to work out. That's like the thing. Pavel Buchnevich, you know what you're going to get out of him. And I'm not here, I'm not I'm going to defend every single player. That trust me, there's players I don't defend. But it blows my mind that people really do want to get rid of him. And if you do, I want to know why. I mean, this past season, he played 80 games, 27 goals, 36 assists, 63 points, which I thought was, pretty good. I mean, I know it wasn't the best. Like last season, he had 67 points. Season prior, 76. And only 73 games played, which is 30 goals, 46 assists. But he's honestly just been progressing more and more. And I think that it's a mistake to get rid of him. And here's the thing. The grass is always greener on the other side, right? That's with anything in life. I know I was a little bit hard on Scott Perunovich and his 1-year extension for $1.15 million. I got some comments, some backlash, like, oh, like, how could you not see this coming? I just didn't think that they were going to. But I'm not, like, angry about it. I'm never going to be angry unless it's something, like, stupid, like a Torrey Krug contract. But because, I mean, listen, Doug Armstrong did mention that he does want to extend Pavel Buchnevich. And that was one of the things that he said he was going to work on this summer. So if you already know that your GM wants to extend a player, just accept that it's going to probably happen. It's not a bad thing. So just remember that having Pavel Buchnevich on your team for a couple more years is going to be a positive. Do not say you want to trade him. There's other players that the Blues could trade, that they should trade. He's not one of them. Don't be silly. All right, hockey family, enjoy Game 7 tonight, and I will talk to you tomorrow when we have a winner and the season's officially done. And let the chaos begin, because we're not linked to any single trade rumors. And I'm not saying that bothers me. It does a little bit, but I'll talk about it in tomorrow's episode. All right, and like always, let's go Blues.